to tease her that it was her fault that I became a poet, and that it was particularly about that poem, because I could really identify with the poem, and I was arrogant enough at that age to say, I can do that. And so that's when I started writing poetry. And when I first came, I met her in a book called 3,000 Years of Black Poetry. And that poem was one of the poems in there. And I stole the book. That's how much I like the poem. And someone eventually stole it from me, so it goes around, comes around. But in that book, I met Gwendolyn, I met Amiri Baraka, I met Nikki Giovanni, I met Victor Hernandez Cruz, I met Bob Kaufman, you know, in that book. And so I was like a kid. And then eventually I had an opportunity to meet a lot of those people and to actually feature them in readings, publish them. And with Gwendolyn, we actually were close. So you heard We Real Cool. I'm going to read a praise poem that I wrote to Gwendolyn in my second book, third book. This is my third book. My first, third, and fourth books are back there. So this is the third, and this carries the poem Her Words for Gwendolyn Brooks. An archaeologist, not a lexicologist, figured it out. The word was a woman, mingling among the aromas of Ethiopia, brandishing a painter's brush in a day territorially defined by string. The archaeologist swept away ancient crust and sediment, finding language alive and agitated instead of the fossilized femur of a long-dead Ramapithecus. Words wrapped in rhythm, pleasure, knowledge, and pain. Words as sharply defined as an Ashanti sculpture. Words of an African dynasty made of peoples not restricted to kings. Words that survived the Atlantic. Words that survived Atlanta. Words that survived migration, segregation, integration, and false resolution. Words worn as bracelets, amulets, and weapons. Words that were up long before they were down. Word up. Words that give more than she has taken. Children's lives were weaved first through her poems and then through their own words that could weave a world. I'm going to close with this poem, which is called Hallucinating at the Velvet Lounge. The Velvet Lounge is it was a world-renowned jazz club, and it was rated as one of the top 50 jazz clubs in the country, and it's dedicated to a trumpet player from Chicago named Malachi Thompson. When Malachi blew his horn, I dreamed of cornbread. Yellow mounds with burnt edges on the velvet's culinary altar. His sharp cut riffs morphed into squares of cornbread islands floating in streams of warm butter, clinging to the ribs of my memory, speaking in trumpet tongues of passages and uprisings, ancient pain and good times jiving, sacred beats and blues timing, drive-by crying and signifying, an opiate inside of oppression. A cratered chunk of bacon-infused sweet potato, chicken smothered, maple pecan, custard-filled, smackling, crackling, jalapeno-infused cornbread. The crepe of the slaves now sold at Whole Foods in his jazz-drenched town built of golden bricks and smokestacks, billowing fumes of corn on the cob and catfish, my mind lost in music and metaphysics, reminiscing the Sunday manna served beside my mother's succotash. That reminds me, that word succotash, I don't call myself a Southern poet, but I was born in Baton Rouge and I grew up in San Francisco. So I claim both.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you.